Welcome to the Bodcast-Kenya Season 9. And it's just the three of us in this episode, and we're going to have a general catch-up. Andy is still in the UK. We are here in Nairobi. Andy, tell us your news. You've abandoned us in here in
I've never abandoned, No, I'm just in the UK for a little bit, It's one of those things where, came to the UK for holidays, picked up was offered a contract doing some work for the British government. So did it. So keeping myself busy.
Yeah.
No, but it's going to take me till, the contract runs until March. I think I'm trying to work out on the timing. So September through to March. About March 19th, 20th, somewhere like that. Probably 18th, 19th, I think.
Yeah. You'll need to come back here for some vitamin D by then.
Well, it's not been too bad. Like the summer was nice.
That's true.
And I'm probably running out of stalls. I'll be on the sunbed shortly because get that vitamin D where you can.
Yeah. So how's your training going now? I've seen that you're
Good.
going to a shred.
Yeah, so originally I was going to do a mini cut, but I decided to just go into a maintenance phase for a little while. So I've been sort of maintenance phase. Body composition hasn't improved. If anything, the maintenance, been holding weight, but I do think my body composition the last week or two has got worse a touch. So I was like, I might as well shred. Now, when I say shred, it's like we get lean. I'm not planning myself to get stage lean. I'll see what I'm like come Christmas. Then make some decisions. Because I might compete before coming back. See how that goes. We just go from there. We'll see. Having a long prep start now. Show maybe before I come back in something like March.
Yeah.
It's enough time.
Yeah, well, it makes sense if you're still in the UK to do a show, whilst
Exactly. Do a show, come back after.
Yeah. So how are you gonna set up your cut? Is it gonna be quite conservative to start with?
Yeah, well, yeah. No, generally speaking, I always start off a little slower and start speeding things up. Depending on how much momentum you get going forward. To say to clients, it's like, great, we're losing weight, but if you've got a goal, you just got to keep that. You got to keep that sort of momentum. You got to keep that push on. So it's about if you can start off conservatively, it gives you, you can slowly get into it. It's just be increasing some more cardio, steps. Ideal time of year for steps, freezing cold, right? But I'm okay with that. Put a good jacket on and get some more tracksuit bottoms, and then wander around in the mornings because I'm normally up just after 5. So between probably 5:15 to 6:45, I have half-hour steps in. Do something similar in the evening, and then get some cardio in at the gym, and a couple of times a week, 2-3 times a week, and training. Then start bringing carbs down a touch. It's the only thing with the UK, my carbohydrate levels have been relatively high because things like good baked bread.
Yeah.
And that's primarily it. Actually, I don't have lots of. I still have rice and potatoes as my main carb sources.
Yeah.
Some pasta occasionally, but
extra bread.
Except bread. It's like, and it's the annoying thing. You go to a shop in the evening, the bread's on sale for the day, fresh baked bread. You're like, oh, that's 25p. I'm going to buy a loaf. Because it's a really good deal, and you're like, oh wow, they sucker you in. But reality is, it's I don't need it. It's just added carbs, but it's okay because I train in the evenings. So my last meal, well, not my very last, but like my main meal comes after training. So a couple of extra carbs in that have been okay. But yeah, that's what I just tighten up on things like that. And the first couple of weeks will just be tightening things up. Remove junk food, keep to straight set meals. 4 or 5 meals a day, and 3 main meals, and then I have smaller, like like say a protein shake with some oats in it, and maybe something like a for bed, something like a what you call it, protein yogurt thing with some extra protein powder in.
Yeah.
Maybe berries.
I mean, have you noticed that your blood glucose is different?
Blood glucose has been okay. I've checked it a few times. It's been okay. It's probably because I've been quite active, generally active, running around doing different things. Um, with Kaya, that's the thing with UK. There's lots of clubs and stuff like so. She's been in, going, rushing to, I'm rushing here, there, and everywhere, take her places. So, but yeah, so like blood glucose has actually been okay. I'm sort of managing it, so it's been decent. But that's because I always try to. I'm sleeping well. I'm active, so it's just I still don't have huge amounts of carbs during the middle part of the day, really. There's those evening breads which I shouldn't really have, but because I still get a good amount of sleep, by the time I wake up, it's not my fasted blood glucose is actually okay.
So how many carbs are you eating, and how do you spread them out?
So generally speaking, I've been on 200 grams, 250, which is low for a lot of people, but good for me, the glucose. I always stick the largest amount of carbohydrates in my pre-workout and my post-workout. Since my post-workout's my main meal, works out pretty well, and the rest are sparse throughout the day. What I'll do is I'll drop that to about 175 ish, which is a good rate level for me to start cutting. That's a good place for my carbohydrates to be generally. Fats a bit higher. So, but yeah, so for me that'd be good. I'll do that, and then I'll look at where my fats are. Still having good fats here. Avocados, which Leon hates, but olive oil. I'll get some nut oils in as well, but peanut butters.
Yeah.
It's a good thing about UK. It's easier to get things like no sugar peanut butter. It's easier to get things like a protein yogurt, like a Skyer type yogurt thing. Even even the supermarkets have their own brand stuff now.
Yeah.
So you don't even need to spend the extra on Skyer. It's like so which is good. I have that with some protein powder, a couple of berries before bed, and then it's a good little protein thing before bed.
Absolutely. I know. I love well, we just say it, the phage, the fire.
Yeah.
It's just, it's such a great way to get extra protein in, and I like it because they give you the options. You can have your full fat, or you can have your 10%, because it can be, if you're like, for me, I'm just at the moment not using protein powders. It's really hard to get in, like 140 grams without it. It's possible, but yeah, Greek yogurt comes in really handy. But sometimes the full fat one, then your fats just go overboard. So
that's the thing. It's just trying, and I have this with clients. I have some vegetarian clients, and I suggest protein powder, but some don't want to use it, and that's fine. It's just if easier if you are a meat eater, not having protein powder, although it becomes a lot of chewing. It's nice to sometimes have a slight break from chewing. But especially in an off-season situation, for guys who compete in off-season, with the amount of food you want to get in, you do need a break from the chicken and the beefs and stuff. It's just a lot of chewing. It gets a bit much. So I started mincing when I was in Kenya. I started mincing my chicken because I was just fed up of chewing it. Chewing chunks. Yeah, so there's that. But yeah, it's nice yogurts. Yeah, and for that, cottage cheese I always say is a good little one as well to add to things.
It's so expensive here, though. It's like
I know it's really hard to get in Kenya as well.
which is so sad. And you don't get it's always a full fat option. Not that I'm against full fat, but if if you are eating a lot of dairy,
Well, that's the thing. It's like you got to then try and work out where else you're going to take your fats from.
yeah,
As in, like, they're not the best fats. They're not essential oils. They're not, and my clients, as I'm saying, me telling them, like, what we want to do is minimize non-essential fats and maximize essential fats because, you get the best benefit from them. So if you can make most of your fat content from the essential fats, you're in a much better position. But that's the thing. But when you can't, get, if you're say a vegetarian, then it's a case of trying to find your protein source. It does become hard. I've had to lower a lot of people's protein targets purely to give them an achievable target. It's not an
yeah,
optimal target. It's just an achievable target.
which is so true. Like a lot of my clients who are vegetarian, it's often like 90 to 100 grams.
Yeah.
If possible 120, but it can just be so hard. But a good one is actually ricotta, and you do get a good low fat one here. And it's not as tasty, obviously, but it's not to make like a pudding with it. So
Yeah, you can use ricotta for a bit of dessert. With some berries.
yeah,
But it's a cost though. It's a cost element. It's not cheap.
it's
It's not
actually
too bad. It's what Browns do one, and who else does one?
I
Does
don't
anyone else?
probably, but the Browns one is actually not too expensive here compared to cottage cheese or their Greek yogurt. So it's a lot. Like
That's the only problem with Kenya. It's like you don't have a choice. So prices are a touch on the high side for things like dairy because there isn't the options.
Yeah, but the good thing is that like with Browns, it's all
It's
like
good. It's delicious and good quality.
and like it's like minimal hormones for the cow.
I always say it's worth your money to get the brown stuff. It's just as long as you've got that money to buy it.
Yeah, for sure. But it is interesting, like balancing your macros like that. Like again, for vegetarians, it's hard because your carbs can go up, your fats can go up. So protein is really difficult. And
Well, that's the thing. Chasing protein for vegetarian usually pushes the carbs right up.
if you're going for
And
liquid
and
grain,
that's the problem. Yeah, great. Yeah, and you're trying to get a complete protein source, so you're mixing various plant-based protein sources, and then you've got someone who might be a bit pre-diabetic, and you're trying to get their carbs down. That's starts becoming a challenge without protein powder.
very hard. I think that's an interesting situation if someone is, getting a bit insulin resistant or pre-diabetic as a vegetarian, then I think I would say like just get a good quality protein powder.
Yeah, well, you have to. You almost have to because you're gonna have to have a break from carbohydrates.
Yeah.
There's those situations where it's now it's a must. It's not.
Well, yeah, obviously we put in some tofu and stuff, but it's not. It's not ideal.
Yeah,
it's not.
And you need that, yeah.
I mean, at least vegetarians can eat eggs and dairy. That helps so much.
Yeah.
Because
Like a vegetarian, as long as not, we are just vegetarians. It's a lot easier. Yeah, eggs and trying to explain to people, you don't want necessarily lots and lots of whole eggs, but let's get lots and lots of egg whites in.
Yeah.
So like, what happens to the yolk? I'm like, well,
just
spin it off, give it to the dog. I don't know.
Yeah, it always feels like such a waste, doesn't it?
It does. It is, and that's the hard thing. It is very wasteful just to have egg whites, but
yeah, I know.
Yeah. Dogs love it. If if you're just having just egg whites, you just keep giving them yolk. We love it, but
it fattens them up quick. It's
that's the only problem. It's
to be careful with them.
I mean, like always going on like about blood glucose, and there's so many ways to manage it without necessarily having to slash your carbs. I mean, that can be really useful. Like with you find that the same with me. I actually have lower carbs but it's the type of carbs that you eat, like rice and potatoes.
Definitely.
Amazing. And root vegetables are so good. And then, how like your nutrient timing becomes so important, like Andy's eating most of his carbs around his training window, when he's going to use them and when he's more insulin sensitive, which is smart. And, this makes such a big difference. And then, like, we always call them our blood glucose walks, just being active.
Yeah. And that's something I tell my clients after every meal. If you can, just do a 10-minute walk. Even if you're in the office, finish your meal, walk around, go chat to people for 10 minutes.
It's
Just do something. Just keep your body moving.
Keep moving. Like, studies have shown that's more powerful than metformin, which is,
Yeah.
a diabetic drug. Are you still on berberine?
Yeah, no. I'm just ordering some. I haven't used it for a little bit actually.
Yeah.
I will use it because it is good. It is really good.
Well, I was reading it's good to cycle off it, like
Yeah, and that's exactly what I read. That's why I came off it for a bit.
because it's also a really good antimicrobial. Like, a lot of
It's got so much health benefits.
people use it. Yeah, in fact, I think I'm ordering some more in.
In a while.
Yeah, I think I mean, my carbs aren't high, but I mean, it's still.
No, but it's good to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have. And as I said, I just come off just purely for that cycling purpose.
Yeah.
A couple of months off.
I think do that.
But here's the thing, like, and this is something I tell people. I've had discussions. The link to high fasted blood glucose and things like dementia, into other lifestyle. Well, not even lifestyle. Some other genetic conditions, can be mitigated and reduced by just controlling our blood glucose. There's a strong link between insulin, resistance and things like dementia and early onset dementia. So, it is good for people just to understand how to use their carbohydrates, and that they're there as a great fuel source. But you only need fuel when you're active.
Yeah.
Because
Having a high carb meal and going to bed, it will aid your sleep, but it will also keep your blood glucose higher at your least active periods.
Yeah, and then considering maybe you work in an office, so you've been sitting for 6 to 8 hours, it becomes a dangerous lifestyle. I was listening to a Kenyan doctor talk about it on Citizen TV, and he made some really good points where heart diseases are going up, and lifestyle issues because people just sit and.
Well, the thing is, Kenya's have got the perfect storm. The emerging middle class, more takeaway food, more convenience food, less active lifestyles, from where genetically, and historically, Kenyans very active. A lot of nomadic tribes, very low carbohydrate, very low junk food usage. Now to being sit in the office and people having pizzas and KFC, it's there's a big swing there.
Well, it's always interesting in that sort of evolutionary perspective. I think, if you're like, certain tribes have different, like you say, genetic predispositions, so that when there is, a time of plenty, like fast food and everything is now, you have the propensity to store more body fat. Your body is and that.
Take a look at, if you go back in time and you look at the Samburu or Maasai or Bichkanans, these nomadic tribes people. If you look at really old photos, you won't see an overweight one.
No.
Have a look now, though. Have a look, especially at some of the Maasai guys now who've settled living in Nairobi and things. They get fat real quick because we put on weight real quick because it is still within their DNA. We're not meant to be living that lifestyle. It's been evolutionary over millennia.
Yeah.
Suddenly, in a very quick period of time, like Kenya's, rise of a fast food chain, it's not much more than 15 years, really.
Yeah, that's true.
True. No, it's so interesting. And I mean, their diet literally is, blood and milk. I mean, now maybe some, and meat. So like you say, very little carbohydrate. And now you're introducing that it
New
is like
age,
a perfect
high
storm.
fat, high carbs.
So
And here's the thing, though, like diabetes is not a cheap disease,
oh gosh,
to manage. Like in somewhere like Kenya, where you have to pay for your, medication.
yeah, and it's so preventable, and and as we've always said, like if you can just catch these things early, like listen to our blood glucose episode, I think that's a really good one, and just learn, like how to take it, just get your glucometer, do your walks, do your nutrient timing, and then certain supplements. So I also take inositol. That's also for thyroid, but that can help a lot with insulin resistance, and it's very safe. It's even safe during pregnancy. And a lot of women with PCOS take it, because PCOS is generally driven by insulin resistance.
It goes hand in hand with insulin resistance, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it's a bit like that, which ties in almost on the flip side. That though, so men, I was explaining this to a client about low testosterone levels and insulin resistance and weight gain, because we've had his blood checked, we look normal. Blood glucose is a bit close to the bone until you get. It's always the same. It always looks like we do blood glucose monitoring and it looks high. He goes to the doctor. They do a proper test, and for some reason that day it's always a bit lower. And I go, "Oh no, you're all right." It's like, right. But anyway, I said to him he should go. He should get a testosterone check because of him saying, he feels tired a lot. His body composition's not great. He is in his 40s. I'm like, I haven't asked him about his libido yet, actually, but he's a bit more conservative. I don't want to stress him out. But so go check your testosterone because this insulin resistance is marginal. You're not eating a great deal. Well, you're telling me you're not eating a great deal of carbohydrates. The plan, we've reduced those, but again, vegetarian, so we have to keep them relatively high. But he's active. I don't know during the day how active he is, but he's active. So I'm like, let's just rule it off or in, see where your testosterone levels are at, and check your other hormones while we're there. Your other sex hormones, because SHBG ties hand in hand with insulin resistance. When you got lower SHBG levels, you're more, it's chicken and egg situation. I think higher insulin resistance pushes up SHBG levels and then decreases testosterone levels, but you got more SHBG, so you're getting even less free testosterone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing what blood work can tell you. I guess people are still scared to find out. I find some.
But even doctors,
Yeah.
like here's the thing: doctors won't look at the broader picture. They look at the main markers for health. They focus on those big. Okay, what's your cholesterol doing? Okay, we're okay there. Okay, what's your blood cell count? That's okay. Your liver function, good. Clean bill of health.
Yeah.
Actually, in between all that, there's a lot else going on. As long as you're not diabetic, the doctors are fine with that, or pre-diabetic. Everything else, though, they're not. They don't really, unless you push a doctor won't go out of his way to prescribe you, testosterone replacement therapy.
Yeah, and
or even test your free testosterone.
Well, they won't even test it. That's my point. It's not let alone, it doesn't even come up in discussion.
Yeah, and it's like you say, they don't, well, some, I guess, but most, they don't even ask you, just your activity levels, the simpler stuff, what do you do, how your day looks like.
Well, here's the thing, questions should be quite a list. You work through the list, you go, right, okay, so, and the easiest one to check your your libido levels is, are you getting early morning erections? And actually, I was watching GMTV, one of these breakfast TV on BBC. And they had a doctor on there, young doctor, and he was talking about low testosterone in men and about lethargy and stuff. So that was quite good. And he said the same thing. He's like, He says, although a lot of older men don't like talking about it.
Yeah.
The first clue of lower testosterone is if you stop getting morning erections.
True.
Yeah.
It's just if you stop getting those, then there probably is a slight problem with your libido.
Yeah.
It's so great to like find a coach who has the holistic approach, because honestly, the more I've worked with doctors, it's, and we've said before, like GPs, it's not, they're not specific in certain areas. But if you can work with coaches who can read your blood work, because they're going to take the time to ask, all these kinds of questions, because you can't look at anything in a silo. All your systems are connected. And you need to ask all these different questions to be like, okay, well then that's probably why it's like this, or this is why it's like that. Whereas like you said, Annie, doctors will be like, yeah, okay, all the big boys are looking good here, and you're like, well, I'm still feeling crap. And so because I have Hashimoto's, and my brother has Crohn's, and they did say he had Hashimoto's and he wanted to recheck. And I was telling him, look, make sure you ask for a full thyroid panel, because doctors will not do that. They will only do TSH. And he was telling them the history of this, and they still only ran TSH.
Yeah, but your brother's lucky in the sense that he lives in the UK. He can actually pay to get
That's
full
what
blood
I'm
tests.
do it, because it's only 100.
Relatively, the NHS, and I know this in fact, because of the NHS cost saving, they will never give you the full panels ever, unless it's a real medical emergency. You will always get the bare minimum because of cost. So if you can just top it up, like you can do, go on to Youth Revisited. You
Yes,
go on Youth Revisited and do a full thyroid panel only. He doesn't even have to do like the test I do. If you do a thyroid test, and it ticks all the boxes.
Yeah. And I was like, I'll read it for you, because it's just, I guess
It's not even that expensive. A thyroid one's probably 50 quid.
I mean, it's great, like, to see that, but then you're like, okay, but let's find out why. Then you need the other stuff. But it's
Well, that's the thing. But if he's already got the main panels from the NHS, then what you do is you then
get the others.
Supplementary.
They
Supplement
only did full blood count and fasting blood glucose and TSH. I mean,
that's pretty minimal.
Can do
That's
that.
minimal.
And you have to fight to actually get the results.
Well, that's the thing. They never give you your results.
Yeah.
The doctor looks at them and says you're fine.
Fine.
Yeah.
So it's, and I mean, honestly, I think like some GPs are awesome, but if you are trying to do blood work, you will just be frustrated if you go through your GP. Like, go through like a functional medicine practitioner or a coach who knows how to read your.
And this is a half the issue in the UK. If you go to a GP, because the NHS system, and the NHS is amazing, I'll never truly knock it, but there's a few holes there.
Yeah.
Go to a GP, the GP will then, he has to refer you to a specialist.
Okay. Yeah.
And they don't really want to do that because of costs.
Yeah.
So only if you really tick all the boxes will they do that.
Yeah.
They try and just say, oh no, you're actually fine.
Yeah.
So they won't, if you keep going back, you keep badgering them, they will
do it. Yeah.
Because they just get fed up with you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think it's so worth to, if you're going to do it, get someone who's going to take the time to, read it holistically.
Yeah, and it's worth paying some additional money to a private clinic to take your bloods, and then you can find a private functional medicine doctor and ask them to assess or sports medicine doctor or a hormone expert private doctor, and just have a consultation, pay a consultation fee, show me blood work, and say, I just want you to go through my blood work and see if I'm okay.
Yeah. It's pretty much what we do.
Yeah. I mean, we've started to do one-off consultations as well to help people with their blood work.
And then we have Tibu sort of.
Yeah, and Tibu can do it. So I mean, it's still okay. It's more expensive here, but it's still, you can, depending on your budget, we could be like, okay, well, if we're suspecting it's thyroid or whatever, we could just do that. Yeah.
At least it helps. Yeah. It's a starting point.
So what well, I know what you're up to, but you can tell
Yeah, you tell us.
you can tell us.
I'm in limbo somewhere there. 'Cause, I think we're talking with Andy also, and you anyway. Like I feel like I'm at a point where I'm training hard but getting back so little.
Making no progress.
Yeah, it's like very, very small steps. And I enjoy training. Training is good, like that. My nutrition, everything's amazing, and it's just such small steps. It's a bit frustrating. And past few weeks, having traveled and gotten sick a bit, lost a bit of weight, so it's been a struggle getting back to training, and recovery is a bit meh. So yeah, I'm at that point where I'm like, I've been trying a bit of high volume training, just something different as I get back. So no sets to failure, because just trying to manage recovery, but keeping volume a bit high, so sessions are sort of not wasted. And then yeah, but it just feels like I'm at that point where I think, having trained for so long, food is good, mindset is good, training's good. It's
The
like,
problem is, and here's your problem, is you've been training for a while, you've been on point for a while,
yeah, it's
so every sort of new bits, like newbie gains you can get out of everything you've rinsed now. So
I
you're
have,
now on like minuscule amounts of growth, and and we're talking lucky to get 1 to 2 pounds of any additional muscle in a year. You'd be lucky to get a pound probably in a year.
yeah, like after the trip in Scotland, where there's a lot of hikes, lost a bit of weight, so water, I'm sure, a bit of muscle fat, but very little. Just feels nice when now I'm training and gaining a kilo, where it could be water again, could be a bit of fat, but it just feels nice because it plays with my head.
Thing
But
is, even if it is water, and
yeah,
as long as you're not in the massive surplus, if it's water and glycogen going into muscles, at least they look fuller.
yeah, it just, yeah, it gives me that, oh, at least something's happening. But I'm at the point where I've been talking to Dr. Dean, talked to texted JP, we're just asking questions, because at least he still replies. And yeah, I'm at that point where I'm thinking, might be, because I mean, I'm 35 next year. So I'm at that point, I'm like, I wouldn't mind, experimenting, seeing how it goes, but doing it the right way, sort of enhanced, but very
Yeah,
mentally.
no, and it makes some sense for you, because here's the thing, and this is what people need to realize. As I just said, you've been on point training. You've rinsed everything you can rinse.
I feel like
Yeah,
it.
you've not let anything slip, and you are probably still making gains,
Yeah.
but they're so small you won't notice them until like
You have to be
Yeah.
so
a
on
year's
point.
past.
It's
Yeah,
it's
and you got to be some point. Yeah, exactly. If you slip even a little bit, it goes
Mm.
backwards. So 35. Yeah, your test levels start dropping. It depends how high they are to start with, but yeah, it makes sense, because you're in a good place to do it.
yeah, and then, because even I was just like, even if they're not, it's just nice to, because it's like I was saying, it feels like I'm knocking down, I'm hitting a wall, and
Mm.
it's just a few cracks, but it's not breaking down into the next phase. So I wouldn't mind, breaking down the wall and just feeling like, oh wow, that leg session, like, oh, I can see, the progress. I can feel it. Like it's reached that
The
point.
recovery.
Oh yeah, because it's like, if I feel the next day I'm at a point where, like, okay, I'm finished. I'm dead.
I've been a bit like that recently. My recovery's been shit.
But
Mm.
and it's not food, because food's good. My protein's always high. Like I do 250-gram servings a day, so I get about 80 to 100 easy from whey and then food. So it's Is something small missing? Maybe it's mindset causing that, because mind, body is one, but I feel like I'm at that point. I'm ready for it. I'm mature.
Well, I think it'd be
And,
good, like, for people to see how you can do that responsibly,
Yeah.
and for someone to share their journey openly.
Yeah,
I mean, will be really good.
yeah, I'm at that point. Plus, I don't mind experimenting with myself, because I know I'm not going to do anything dangerous, and
Yeah.
good mentors,
Yeah.
and like Dr. Dean, we've had him on the podcast.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, we talk. He's nice. He replies. So I'm at that point. I feel like I would, it makes sense. It makes sense. It's not. I'm not doing it out of, oh crap, I saw this guy on
Well, it's not
Instagram.
purely aesthetics.
Yeah. So yeah. That's how at my training. Yeah, I'm at that point where I'm just in limbo, where
Yeah, look, inject shitload of tren into your eyeball. Be awesome. No, um, no, I'm joking. A little bit of testosterone, just to push you past the plateau.
yeah,
That thing. It doesn't even need to. You don't need to rinse. Rinse the drug side of things.
yeah.
A little bit of test.
Plus, it's like what Clear said. Wouldn't mind talking about it from a
Yeah.
point of both experience and theory. So it's because even here people are doing it, and
Oh, people are doing it, and I always say it's madness because people are just doing it unchecked. Like, it's guys in gyms who own pharmacies.
oh yeah,
I won't go into names I've spoken to, who are just using it willy nilly because they can get hold of it. It's like they're under no coaching. They're just normal guys, and they're not eating well. They're not,
yeah,
they drink. They look like, a bag of mashed potato.
yeah, true.
You know, and really, people need to understand the reality is if you're going to go enhanced, you should be at a point where there's a reason.
Yeah.
Be it something like, competitiveness,
Yeah,
could be, you're running 100 meters for Kenya, could be many reasons.
yeah,
They were like, so that's your options though, competitive sport.
yeah.
And, we're all naive if we don't think all the top athletes aren't using. But they also have doctors and stuff to watch. The second part of that is, being competitive bodybuilding. The second part is having everything else lined up. It's reality. It's like you need to have all your health markers on point.
Mhm.
You need to make sure you got. There's no point starting even like TRT if you've got high blood pressure
Yeah, yeah.
because it's just going to make it higher, and that's going to affect your kidneys.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been the problem with bodybuilding and people dying over the years is until recently no one talked about checking your blood or controlling your blood pressure. There's no problem taking a blood pressure medication just to counteract the effects of high testosterone.
Yeah.
When it went unchecked for years, and like a lot of bodybuilders, and when I was growing up, bodybuilders were usually the biggest guy in the gym, and he would just tell the guy who wants to be a bodybuilder, use this, use that.
Yeah.
There's no talk about blood work and things. Those guys would just go for years and years and years, and suddenly, oh, did you hear about Steve, bodybuilder? He died the other day. Oh, well, only 46. Yeah, but he'd been on, he'd been using steroids since he was like 17. It's without ever having his blood work ever checked and cramming food down his, lug hole and not coming off and all these other things that people have done over the years. Reality is you can use testosterone safely. It's not foolproof, nothing ever is, but testosterone is a natural hormone, and so you can use it safely. Understanding the effects that it will push up things like hematocrit levels, which in turn affects your blood pressure. Higher blood pressure will affect your kidneys. So you need to be able to have really good blood pressure to start with. So you need to be fit and healthy. You want to keep your blood pressure down. So even I know Conrad Black talks about using something like telmisartan, which is a blood pressure medication from day one, just to because it counteracts, it stops your hematocrit level getting high to start with. You know, you can like withdrawing of blood is a quick way of go and donate blood. It's a quick way of getting it down, but because then your body goes, oh, I must make more.
Yeah, true.
And it makes more, and it's just always refilling. So you would have to keep drawing blood every week. When if you were using something like telmisartan, it would keep that lower, longer. And so then you've got to look at so generally you've got to be super healthy, and this is what people. So you need to be doing it for a good reason. Either that you've got low testosterone and you need TRT, competitive sportsman who's trying to go to the next level. You're already healthy, and you know what your bloods look like.
Yeah, so I think you can check those, and then it's just important that you do your blood work.
Which we've always done. It's been good, so I can keep doing it. Like I don't mind, routine and
you just schedule it in.
So
how often you do it and make sure that everything's looking good.
Yeah, who knows? Might get to competing again. Because now I just feel like
if you went on a cycle, you make 25 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Relatively quickly, you might be elusive.
Yeah, because I enjoy training for size. Yes, health is key, but I like building muscle. Like I know that's what I enjoy. I don't mind being fit, but if I was to put in a treat, building muscle is something I enjoy and I'd like to keep doing for as long as I could. So it's a top goal for me on top of health there. So
the health, being healthy, and there's a reason for cardio even in the off season. Capillary blood flow to muscles will help you build muscle.
Yeah.
By increasing pumping blood around your body will help carry nutrients. Also keeps it helps with your blood pressure, it helps with glucose, it helps with lots of stuff. So keeping a bit of cardio in is good, and that's probably what I'm not great at come off season. I mean, because cardio batters my knees in, but what I've started doing, going off topic, EMS, electrical muscle stimulation, because my right leg's a little smaller than my left leg because it's worse injury, so the muscles don't fire properly. But I've started using that. I've used it for a couple of days now, and they're looking more the same size now.
Oh, nice.
Just because that muscle's now been able to fill up with a bit more blood and things. Because what I do is I just use it 10 minutes before bed, not for long, just to get that muscle. It's called redesigning, but basically it's rebuilding those synaptic pathways just to fire that muscle better. So it knows it needs to be active, because where you might you nurse it a bit. Since your injury is just doesn't fire the same. So doing that, and then it's starting to look a bit more like the other one. So that's it's been quite useful.
It's like using the electric current to tell your brain to wake.
Yeah, and what you do is, as it stimulates and contracts the muscle, you tense the muscle at the same time with your brain. So it starts tying in together. So you're not letting the machine do it all. So it's been pretty good actually. It's also then backs up as a TENS machine if you got a little bit a bit of pain you need to deal with. So that side that's been really good this week. I've been enjoying that.
Well, cardio I think is I feel like we should do another episode on this, because I agree. Like my cardio has been bad. Like I think so many people, like when you're in a fat loss phase, you're like, okay, I'm going to do my cardio, do this, that, but it's so important outside fat loss. And so I've started to run, and like you say, it is hard on your body, but I actually really enjoy it.
Well, that's the thing. That's the key, and I was going to say that. Find cardio you enjoy.
Yeah. Biking, but you want to be, and I think this is where we should do an episode, like talking about the different cardio zones, like where you want to be and what you want to be training. So it's like a zone to train your aerobic training, because that is going to benefit everything else, because your aerobic system is running all the time, and this plays into your recovery massively. So if you're training, like you don't recover so well,
it's just been after
I think it will help. If you bring up your aerobic base, it will really help with your recovery and your strength training. So maybe our next episode we can just talk about that, because I think people get so confused, like, oh, where does HIIT fit in? Like, where, what should you be focusing on? And like, you've got to think about your recovery and your nutrition and all of that. But yeah, I've just started to do just like 2 20-minute jogs a week, heart rates at like 150, 180 max. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it. And I think, it's so important. And for people to get it out of their minds that cardio equals fat loss, like cardio equals health.
Exactly. We don't do cardio for fat loss. We do cardio, although it's energy expenditure, so we calculate it in. We do it for having a good heart.
Yeah, and like you say, so great actually for your metabolism and nutrient partitioning and what we call metabolic flexibility, where you can go between using fats and carbs for fuel, which is really important. So it's it's important. So I'm trying to get Leon to come with me.
I'm starting only because of the walks, because man, this is out of topic a bit, but when we were in the Cairngorms, oh gosh, I think I struggled a bit.
Yeah, that's when I was like, my cardiovascular fitness is not great.
Yeah, because you reach up and I'm like, I think we started talking about it. And
and you guys coming from altitude, you should have been like,
we should have been like,
right.
Yeah, but it was
because I was like, man, I'm carrying so much. Well, it's not so much weight, but more weight than I expected to be going up there. And I'm like, we're going back to like extra walks and just a bit more cardio. So when I'm feeling much better, hopefully next week I'll start doing sprints with her. And it was a wake up call. It was a good walk, but I could feel the struggle, because Clear's bro just.
Well, he walks about 10K a day.
He's like an army guy. He has a and you're like keeping up with him, and you're like, okay, am I really?
We were happy my mum was with us, because she's like 70, and so he toned his pace down a bit. So we were like,
So
thing is, you want to walk to enjoy it. It's not like a route march. You're not trying to get somewhere quickly.
You tell him that.
No, it was nice, but he just has his pace, and
he likes it.
Like he reached a point where he realized, okay,
we're all at the back.
I might be, but it was nice.
Sometimes you do have those wake up calls, and I think especially people like us who love lifting weights, like you need to have the cardio in there. It's such a great balance. Everything complements each other. But again, finding the cardio and the weights that you can do and still recover. Like, don't do cardio every day. Like if you're starting out, like 20-minute sessions a week is great. And when you do it is up to you. Like I train 4 times a week with weights, and so what I was doing was legs, upper body, run. Legs, upper body, run. And I actually want to change that, because I find like my legs are not recovering. So I want to do the cardio on the upper body day, so that I still have a full day of just doing normal steps. So it's finding what works for you in there. And like you can do weights and cardio on the same day. You just ideally you would split them. And then the beauty of being at maintenance or a surplus is you can really eat to fuel your cardio as well. Like I am so much hungrier when I do cardio. It's insane. So and you're saying it does use more calories than your weight session or whatever. That's not why you're doing it, but it does. So you need to factor that in. If you are doing that, you probably want to increase your calories, so that you're not going into an unintentional deficit. And again, you can, you probably want to fuel up with some carbs before and after, because again, it is hard on your body. Like I was actually supposed to run today, but I was just feeling really tired. So I was like, I'll just leave it, work up to it slowly. If you're not used to it, it's hard. And running is hard on the body. So you You don't have to run. Like cycling is great. Like Andy said, whatever you enjoy.
Well, that's the thing.
Do
If you
that.
enjoy it, you'll do it. If you
Yeah.
don't enjoy it, you'll find an excuse not to do it. And that's as simple as that. You know, if you hate running, don't run. You know, I prefer doing bag work. Put some boxing gloves on, do some bag work. That to me is more enjoyable cardio and skipping. So I do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Skipping
is brutal. Well, I mean, but that's different. Sprints are working a different system. So then you've got to, think what you're.
For me, jogs. I'd rather. I'll take on the sprints and some skipping, but
I think jogs would be good for you because you struggle with endurance work.
I'll figure it out.
I'll
do
talk
it
to
sprints.
him later.
It'll be
I don't mind like when my knees are okay. Jogging outside, I used to do a lot of running. I can't run though on treadmills. It's so boring. I have to be going somewhere, and even when I run, it has to be a circuit. I can't go back the same way because I'm like, it just feels more boring seeing the same things. So, I like to go around.
No, I agree with you, Andy. Absolutely, and it's just hard here because everywhere is a hill.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just like you leave the house. It's like, oh my gosh.
It's like if I go this way, I have to go down, but I still have to come up.
But
it's gonna be an up at some point.
How you struggle with endurance work. You really struggle. I think that would be so good for you to do that.
The thing is, he's carrying a lot of.
I'm not.
Carrying a lot. He's not the lightest.
I wouldn't push you too hard.
The load on the joints could be.
Swimming.
Got excuses for you.
I'm just not a 70-kilo footballer anymore.
Oh, well, one thing before we finish, what we really want to do, like, I hate cold water. I'm the person who has a warm shower at the coast, but I really want to do more like cold water therapy. I think the benefits are incredible. So what we're trying to do, we were asking around for like an old bathtub.
Yeah, you can get them on the side of the road. You know where? If you can't find them up your end, Spring Valley.
Yeah,
that's a reclamation place. There's always bathtubs along there. Or you know what you get is you get an old water tank.
Yes.
Small water tank and cut it off, and then you can keep it deep. I used to do ice baths a lot after rugby. Hate them.
Yeah.
But
that's what I really want to set myself as a challenge to do that. Like, okay, maybe not every day. Let's be sensible, but maybe we'll get there because I just think they're great and just like mentally as well. Like having that challenge.
I'm more likely to get a hot tub than an ice bath. I tell you. If I have a jacuzzi in my garden with an ice bath, but yeah.
Oh yeah, have both, and then you jump from.
That's the thing, yeah. That would be the thing, and I do that if I go to like one of the health clubs. I go to sauna, freezing cold shower where you pull the freezing cold bucket over your head, and then you go. I'd rather that because it's done quickly. It's just over. My heart rate speeds up.
Yeah.
You get all goosebumps, and you jump back into the sauna.
Oh, it's. I think it's so good. It's so good for you, and it's something I really want to do because it can really improve your resiliency. How your body responds to stress, which I think I need. I did start the cold showers, but I'm such a wimp. Such a wimp. I hate.
Look, I've spent a lot of my life freezing cold.
I bet you have.
Last thing I want to do now is be cold again. But yeah.
So that's hold me to it, gents. This is what I really want.
Well, last year, you can give us a catch up on how many you've done.
I will. just to show people, like, obviously, if you get those amazing like baths that are already freezing, or you're going in the ice barrels, like you can DIY it. So many things in the health and fitness DIY. You can do it. If you really want to do something, you can do it. Like you go and then buy bulk ice.
Yeah, we used to do it rugby. It wasn't something fancy. We even used, and I've seen used, is the wheelie bins.
Yeah.
Like the green wheelie bins, not even that big.
Yeah.
You fill those half of water and ice. You have a step into it, like you put a platform around it, and you just step into it, and then you stand up. Rather than it's hard to get out, someone has to pull you out. But I've seen those when I was playing rugby a lot.
Because
But it's like getting out.
our dog food is in like a pretty big bin, so I tried to get into it, but it's too small. We need a slightly bigger one.
Yeah.
Especially if you're
But and then coming out
gonna
of
do
it
it.
is another.
Baths again though. Get a cold, an old bathtub. As I said, an old water tank, like
Yeah.
one of the smaller ones.
Tub is just
tank
perfect.
and
'cause
tub.
you-
So that can be my Christmas present. Thanks.
Sorted.
Sorted.
Find one.
So well, I think
Spray painted and yeah.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah. You don't really want to be getting into a black.
No, like outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can.
But yeah. Anyway,
Make
so
it look
that's
nice.
that. I just think I think like also like saunas are great just for sweating every day, helping your body to detox.
Yeah.
If you just small things like that, can make such a big difference to your health. Like if you do belong to a gym or a health club, like, and you don't utilize those services, I would like to tack them on. Although I don't know where I read, but it's not good to do it after training because it can blunt the muscle.
Yeah. So you want to have after training a certain level of inflammation, and if you start reducing inflammation too early, you won't build muscle, or you won't maintain muscle so easily.
Like cardio, give it
time.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, separate it up.
Yeah, separate it out. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think that wraps up a diverse first episode.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you're off to take her to BJJ, which is so cool.
Yeah.
And she's enjoying it.
You have to wake her up first.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
I haven't heard her moving, so I imagine she's still in bed.
Saturday morning. But I think that's such a great thing for her to start.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, BJJ is amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I
Start
hope,
young, that's what I say.
yeah, exactly. And I think for for girls as well, that's great.
Especially for girls.
Yeah,
Especially for women.
yeah, and there's not much, I've not really seen that out here. So it's
Yeah,
really cool.
I even gave up. There's only the one Kicker Road, which is far, man. So
Yeah.
Sadly.
All right. Well, we will see everyone. And we were thinking, I think this is episode 99. I really do. So we're so close to 100, which is amazing. So maybe we'll be seeing you in episode 100. We need to go and do our counting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll work out. We'll try and get some guests on for episode 100, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we've got 30.
Yeah, last
The sprinter.
We'll see.
Yeah, it might be good.
Yeah, that would be a good.
Yeah.
That would be a
good episode 100.
Yeah, because I know he's off season now, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting to talk about.
Maybe we do one. For 100 that'd be a good one. I think if not, we could probably ask Victoria and Scott to come on. Victoria Falco and Scott.
Ooh, double whammy.
Yeah, double whammy. Well, they're married and living together.
Yeah,
now, so, it's like
Yeah.
That'd be a good one.
Anyway, leave it to us. We'll hopefully bring you some great speakers and topics for this season, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah.